Hey guys, it's Krista, long time no see. So recently I watched this video about Your Fantasy Self by Janelle Christina, and I'll leave her video linked down below. And it really resonated with me. For those of you who have been following along with me on social media for a while, you know that I have had I've had a lot of difficulty like navigating this space and feeling comfortable being on social media. And I feel like the reason why is because I've been trying to be my fantasy self on social media, and it really doesn't connect with my actual self. So I felt like I was always kind of being fake, or like promoting part of me that wasn't actually real. So for those of you who don't know, your fantasy self is like the self you think you are, but it kind of contradicts with who you actually are. So my fantasy self is like this super fashionable, very posh, very like done up type of person. So I would go out and I would go shopping and I would buy like certain clothes and items like heels and dresses and like other things that fit my fantasy self. But in all actuality, like I hate wearing heels and I'm like not a huge fan of dresses, but I bought all these things because I wanted to be that type of person, even though I don't actually enjoy doing that. Like my actual style is very like jeans, like a nice top, or even sometimes not a nice top, like a t-shirt, very comfortable. Like I don't ever wear heels like on a regular basis for anything unless they're like very low and they're boots. But I own so many heels, and there's this fear that if I get rid of these, like, okay, I'm not going to be like fancy anymore, like I won't have these heels. What if I need to be, you know, like my fancy self, or like whatever, like this posh super chic version of myself that doesn't actually exist? And I feel like throughout like my different stages on social media, that has kind of happened to me, where I have these fantasy selves that I try to project out onto social media, but because there's this disconnect with my true self, that it always felt like something was off, even though I thought that that was me, but it wasn't actually truly me. So what I have been trying to do recently is take a step back and try to figure out, one, am I buying this for my actual self, or am I buying this for like a version of myself that I want to be? And that has really made shopping hard for me, because I'm such an impulse buyer. Like, oh my god, this is so cute, and it's like 50 things that still have tags on them that I'm never gonna wear because they're for my fantasy self, but they're not for like my real self. And I also feel like that's why it's been so hard for me to be like on social media and on Instagram, because I see all these other people like doing these other things, and I'm like, oh, like I need to be fashionable, like I need to do this, like that's me, like I could do that, like I love fashion and things like that. And I really do love fashion, but like not in the same sense that I used to, or that I think I do, I guess. Like I like the idea of heels, and I like the idea of dresses, and I like the idea of being very fancy and like very fashionable and things like that, but in all actuality, like I hate doing that. And when I was, you know, doing hair videos, I like the idea of being like, oh, everything's easy, blah blah blah, but in all actuality, like it wasn't like that at all. So there's always been this disconnect. So one thing that I really want to do like on social media, just for myself, and also because I feel like, so like, I don't know, I want to be more real. I want to project a more real side of me instead of this like fantasy side that I'm trying to create for the sake of social media, because it has always caused like such just like a turmoil inside. Trying to like, is this me? Is this me on Instagram? Because I'll look at my own photos and things and I'll compare, and I'm like, okay, like why aren't I that great? And it's like, this is a picture of me, but I don't feel like I'm as good as this like fake photo or fantasy self photo that I've created. So it always makes me feel upset because I'm not as good, or I'm not as good as this fantasy self that I've created. So one thing I want to do is just try to be more real on social media and stop trying to, I don't know, stop trying to be who I think I should be and just be who I am. So yeah, I know this video is ranty, all my videos like this are, but it's kind of like I want to project a more real version of myself on social media. I want to share that with you guys, and more than anything, I just want to be able to be myself and be comfortable in myself and stop feeling this need to live up to these like just super unrealistic and unnecessary like expectations about things that don't really matter. And just to be clear, your fantasy self and like your goal self are two separate things. So your goal self is like, okay, what am I actually doing to work towards a better version of myself that I am today? So like, are you continuing learning, like whatever these things are? But your fantasy self is like this disconnected version you've created of yourself that contrasts or contradicts who you actually are. But yeah, this video just really resonated with me, so definitely check it out. Link will be in the description box. I kind of wanted to start talking more about like real life and like things in general like that, because I have a lot of things to say about certain things, especially when it comes to finding yourself and kind of figuring out who you are, because I feel like I've just been going through like a quarter-life crisis for the last 2 years. But yeah, that's all I have. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you did. If you didn't, you can still subscribe and like this video just because you're a good person. Yeah, and I'll see you in the next one.